It is Sunday, April 7th here at the West End Gun Club. Came out here mainly to drop off some targets, but I figured I might as well get some trigger time in, and I just wanted to do a little experimentation with the DI Precision Vudoo 360 with my 25-inch Mullerworks barrel. And if my audio sounds less than stellar, it's because I don't know, I either lost it out here or I forgot to pack my microphone for my wireless Rode mic setup. So we're going to have to run off the kind of just external mic that's plugged into my camera, and we'll hope for the best. So you're going to pick up a lot of background noise. In any case, I set up a target at 50 yards just to get a generic zero, and then we're going to shoot on some targets I have at 200 and 300 yards with Lapua Long Range. I did bring out some Center X. I may just experiment with that, but I have two lots of Lapua Long Range here. One that my original ones that I bought when it first came out, or kind of when it first came out, and then I bought two more bricks recently from a vendor who got them in stock, so I figured I'll just play around a little bit more. I didn't have great luck with Lapua Long Range in this gun. It was okay. Center X probably, just a single lot. It wasn't that great. So another lot maybe will shoot better, but it didn't shoot terribly bad, but it didn't shoot stellar in that way. So maybe a different lot will help. But I figure I wanted to also just get some, maybe I'll experiment with this at 300 yards, because my intent kind of initially was to have two guns, two Voodoos, one for kind of just NRL-22 and then one for kind of experimenting in long range type stuff with rimfire, going out to 300 and beyond. And I figured this would be the best platform for that. And so it'll be a good time to experiment with other ammo for that. And while it may not group well at 50 yards, if it performs well at 100, 200, and 300 as far as elevation dispersion, then maybe that'll be the way to go for ammo in this gun. So let's go ahead and keep shooting. I already shot some rounds downrange to warm up the barrel, and I'm also going to just bust out my 6.5 Creedmoor to put some rounds in there, and then I'm going to go back down to the rimfire range and spray the target stands because I got new targetry. That's what I was dropping off today, some new targets. But let's go ahead and just continue shooting. We may have to go out there and take a look at that target at 200. We are shooting at about an 8-degree, 6-degree angle for that one. 6 degrees probably. But it looks okay. The first shot went wide right. Second shot was a little high, and then the rest of them kind of, once I adjusted a little bit for windage, they all sort of center punched the plate. But let's we'll shoot 300, and then we'll move out to we'll go out there and take a look at those targets and spray them down. I'll hold a little left, maybe 2/10. Let's hold, no, we'll hold 3/10. No impact. And I didn't even see a splash. So the Kestrel says 13. How much did it say? 13.5 for 300, which sounds like a lot, to be honest. So the G7. Well, straight away this time. That was a hit. So, guess we don't need wind. I can't see on the plate where it hit, though. It didn't move very much. So it might have been center. Okay. Center. It's above the water line. Complete miss. Let's see where it went, though. That is so odd how I'm not hitting that and I'm not seeing splash. So I'm going over the top, possibly. Okay, we're going over the top for sure. So let's adjust 1/2 mil. Half a mil might have been a bit extreme. My SDs right now are pretty good. It's at 8. The first 20 rounds of this lot, the SDs was 11, but now we're down to 8 when I reset, and we're on 30 shots so far with this string. Elevation dispersion on this is not very good, to be honest, at 300. We are probably 4/10. 4/10 of a mil dispersion, maybe. 3/10. 3/10 of a mil dispersion. So right now we're hitting over the top. I'm at 13 point. I have to subtract 1 from this. 13.2. And we're still hitting the top plate. So when I dial down to 13, which would be 12.9 technically, or 13.1, I did hit some low. Yeah. There's quite a bit of vertical dispersion here. I would say about anywhere from 3/10, 4/10 vertical dispersion of mil. Maybe 2, 3/10. I'm gonna have to respray, but let's go take a look at the target because I went up and down quite a bit as far as adjustments here, so I don't really have a good pattern yet. It is holding wind though. It was just clearing over the top. So we're for sure at least at 13.1, not 13.5. So we're gonna have to true up the ballistic coefficient here. So I'm not entirely sure I should true up the ballistic coefficient and true up the velocity, because it's gonna be kind of weird with rimfire. But I think I may true up the BC here because it was fine up to 200. Now we're gonna have to true up the velocity, or like this to drop between 50 and 200. We're fine, but we're gonna have to true up for 300. So I figure beyond 200 we'll true up with BC, not velocity. But let me think about that as I go out there and spray those targets. Just so you're not confused when I'm speaking here, my 50-yard zero with center X is about a tenth higher than the long range that I'm shooting, Lapua Long Range. So Lapua Long Range is negative a tenth of a mil. So right now I'm down at 13, which is technically 12.9. 12.9 from my 50-yard zero with Lapua Long Range. And if I shoot 12.9 on this right now, with a center hold to center hit. I think my T1000 lit up. Did it lit up? I don't know. There he goes. That went left. There is a little bit of wind out there. It's about worth 2/10 of a mil wind. But I'll still hold center. That one went high. I don't think I'm getting a good pocket in this, so this is not good. I'm going to reset my position here on this bench. Whoa, see, that went way high. Although my velocity on that one was 1103. So that one went low. So I'm a little concerned about the vertical dispersion of Lapua Long Range. I mean, there are some flyers here. One up, one down. And that one's down. Let me shoot 10 more rounds and we'll actually bring my camera, because I didn't bring my camera when I went over to that, when I went to go look at the target earlier. But right now, I think 12.9 up from 50-yard zero is going to be correct. Man, there's some wind out there. That was a complete miss. I don't know if that went off to the side. Yeah, the wind shifted because I saw the dust go right to left. So I'm now holding 2/10 right. Earlier I was holding 2/10 left. Okay, let's go bring a camera out there. I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. But quickly, I'll show this to you. Hopefully I can adjust my camera real quick. this is, if it focuses, sorry guys, that is my current average of 1091 with an SD of 7.2, extreme spread of 32.7. Here, brighten it up for you. Not bad, but not great. 7.2 SD is pretty good. Here's the 200-yard target. I dialed 7 mils, and which is actually coming out to 6.9, so I'm a little high. Still, roughly, maybe I would argue about a tenth of a mil high. So probably could come down to 6.8. This is the first shot off to the right, and then the rest of it clustered in right here once I held a little bit left for the wind. Not bad. Let me get a tape measure here. I'm trying to hold my camera and sort of measure this for you. But the vertical dispersion is about 2 inches. Not bad. I don't know what that equates to in mils, but at 200 yards, but about 2-inch vertical dispersion. I'll accept that for a 200-yard target. Not bad. Well, let's go run up to that 300. Here's our 300-yard target on the hill. And you can see here we have quite a bit of dispersion here. I missed, wow, I don't know if this was from earlier. I didn't spray this one, but we'll assume that we're all down here. We're getting a lot of high lows here. I was starting to cluster here, then out of nowhere, high, low, cluster, high, low. And so, sorry, I left a tape measure in the vehicle, but we're talking about I would say about a 6-inch vertical dispersion here with a cluster right here. This is 12.9 mils. I'm not sure how content I am with this at 300 yards. I think super long range had as good as a 4-inch dispersion on about a 20 round group or 20 round string. And I think the issue at hand though is the fact that we're shooting in this area here, and now the wind is coming in right to left and up this hill, and it's going to come up around, and what it basically creates is an updraft. And so I'm not entirely sure if that does affect my shots with rimfire, because if the wind is swooping up around here and it just curls, and we're shooting at upward angle, does it create that updraft here? That does create some extra elevation issues. So I'm not entirely sure how well I can trust my truing here, but I'm going to go ahead and just accept this, and maybe we'll go out to Palmdale, or yeah, Palmdale, and we'll shoot out the on a flatter 300 yard and 400 yard, 500 yard rimfire to get a better truing of my ballistic coefficient. pretty much done shooting. I did kind of mess around with the BC and the Kestrel. By default, the G7 BC for like Lapua Center X was listed as 0.07 or 0.62, and they don't have a ballistic coefficient for Lapua Long Range, but I'm going to assume it's the same bullet. I'm going to make that assumption. In any case, I went ahead and adjusted the BC until it started to match up with what was going on at 300. And I think at a 0.071, it's kind of accurate for 300. But when you go down to 200, it's a little bit low, I think. Low? Yeah, it's going to be a little low. But it's very finicky because depending on the conditions, a few degrees temperature change could make a bit of a, a tenth of a mil high or low at 300. So it's going to be very finicky, I would say, the Kestrel, because it's constantly pulling in like environmental data. So I probably should have just locked it, to be honest, and that would have helped me out in terms of trying to isolate the BC. But if it's going to be this finicky, then you kind of have to keep into account, hey, environmental changes can affect the, your zeros or your adjustments at 200 and 300 yards for rimfire, which, that's true. But right now, I think, based on what I'm seeing here, I think a 0.071 G7 BC for my gun might be accurate for Lapua Long Range, at least this lot. So I'm going to try to stick with this, and I'm going to try to experiment with it maybe on another day and maybe head out to Palmdale where we have a little bit of a flatter range. It still has a slight uphill, but not as drastic as the 8 degrees that we have out here. And then I'll have a nice flatter range to try out my rimfire at like 200 and 300 yards. Anyway, I'm going to go and pack it up, and then I'm just going to go down to the rimfire range. They're running a silhouette match, but I'm just going to go in my container, drop or spray paint the target stands, and I still have my targets that I need to leave in the container, but just going to do a little bit, maintenance work for the rimfire match, and I'm going to get out of here. Just a reminder, if you want to shoot our April 2024 NRL 22 match, it's going to be April 28th, Sunday, fourth Sunday of the month. So definitely come on out. Anyway, that's it for today. Sunday, April 7th here at the West End Gun Club. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vlog.